I've visited Padraig Harrington in Dublin. I'm now travelling west across the country to take in a few of the most picturesque courses you'll ever hope to find. This is the Wild Atlantic Way, stretching from Cork in the south to Donegal in the north. At 1,500 miles, it's one of the longest defined coastal touring routes in the world.
This rugged landscape has inspired artists, poets, and indeed golf architects, and there are some fantastic courses along Ireland's west coast. And while the likes of Ballybunion, Lahinch, Tralee and Waterville may be amongst the most well-known, and for good reason, there are dozens of other top courses that offer just as good a golfing experience.
Our first stop is Clifton in County Galway.
In 1913, the English newspaper The Daily Mail offered a prize of £10,000 to the aviator who shall first cross the Atlantic from any point in the United States, Canada or Newfoundland to any point in Great Britain or Ireland over 72 continuous hours. The feat was achieved 6 years later by the British aviators John Alcock and Arthur Brown. They landed at this very site in Clifton.
Shortly after 7:45 that morning, a very small aeroplane called a Vickers Vimy biplane flew over our little village of Clifton, and obviously people in this part of the world had never seen an aeroplane before, ever heard of it. They all ran after the plane on their bicycles and their donkeys and their carts. They went out to the Marconi site, where Marconi had his first ever transatlantic wireless station in 1902. And from that site, Alcock and Brown sent a wire to London to say, hey, we are the first people in the world to fly non-stop across the Atlantic. And they never came back to Clifton to spend the money, and we haven't seen sign or sight of them since. So if you see them, tell them we're looking for them.
So in the spirit of Alcock and Brown's achievements, let's start our own 72-hour journey of exploration.
By the side of every road in Connemara, you're likely to come across something very beautiful like this. Isn't that right? Yeah?
This is Connemara Golf Links. It was built in 1973 following a call to action by the local community and their priest, Father Peter Waldron.
This is golf at its most visceral, dramatic, untamed, emotive. It's back to basics. You and your golf ball against Mother Nature, whatever the weather she decides to throw at you.
It was designed by the late Eddie Hackett, Ireland's greatest course architect. Unlike some contemporaries of his, Hackett preferred to work like designers of the distant past, moving as little soil as possible. As he himself once said, I find that nature is the best architect. I try to dress up what the good Lord provides.
You got to be patient. You got to look forward to the next challenge, because every day is a different day. Wind from the north, wind from the south, rain, wind. You just got to accept it and play it. It's not your t-shirt and shorts golf course. You got to be playing the elements. You play this place. Usually you turn up. It's a breakfast. Meet the people in the bar. Meet the people in the pro shop. Have a chat. Get on the way. It takes 4 hours to play a game of golf. A lot of people stop at halfway around, have an Irish coffee, go play the back nine, eat again, have a chat again. It's an 8-hour day, okay? It's a full day's work.
Well, now I know why they call it the Wild Atlantic Way, and perhaps Mother Nature has beaten me on the final green today. But one thing you'll always find about golf in this part of the world is that it's always worth a revisit. As you make your way around Ireland playing golf, it's very easy to get caught up in your own game. But as you travel from course to course, I do think it's really important to stop every now and again and savour some of the amazing scenery that's available pretty much around every corner. And this is a classic example. Kylemore Abbey.
I'm heading north up the coast to a course perhaps even more dramatic than Connemara, Carne in County Mayo.
This is another gem originally designed by Eddie Hackett. In fact, it was the last course penned by the great man before he passed away. And you get the feeling that he's now looking down on us with a little smile, because Every hole that he created here, with a little bit of help from the man upstairs, is framed by these enormous, imposing sand dunes. And it makes you realize that no matter who you are as a golfer, there is no way that you could ever feel bigger than the game, especially here at Carne.
As with Connemara, Carne was formed by a group of passionate, influential locals who acquired the land from 17 farmers back in 1985.
I think golf at Carne really, it's like a journey back in time to the origins of the game of golf. Basically it delivers an unforgettable experience to golfers, and we're hearing that all the time, particularly from US players who are just amazed by the beauty of the course and the natural terrain.
This is unbelievable. Look at those sand dunes. It's like a roller coaster.
I think you certainly need to be putting well here, but also when the wind is up, you can be standing on some pretty high sand dunes and you need to keep the ball low. You definitely need to keep it below the wind when it's blowing.
Well, what a course. Now time for a well-earned rest.
The 19th hole in Ireland is very important, and people kind of sometimes think of it as going to the pub, but it's not all about that. We do lots more than that. So it's the atmosphere, the feeling you get when you're in Ireland. It's the music, the culture and heritage, and above all, it's the people, and it's the stranger giving you a wave on the street. We have a famous saying in Ireland called Céad Míle Fáilte, and that's 100,000 welcomes, and for sure that's what you get when you come to Ireland. We do it naturally. It's not something that we have to train and learn for. In Ireland, it's part of what we are.
Well, I'm coming to the end of this golfing pilgrimage along the wild Atlantic Way, and I think I've got one more round left in me. But first, time to take in a few other pursuits that are very much linked to this part of the world.
I think it goes back to our history, particularly on the western seaboard. People lived off the land. It was that hunter-gatherer analogy, trying to propagate land here in the west of Ireland with the climate that we have, not particularly conducive to feeding a family. So people naturally developed in terms of obviously getting a food source off the landscape. So shooting, fishing, everybody here in the west coast of Ireland did it, and our rivers and the wildlife is bountiful. So that's where the tradition comes from.
That's it, you got that one as well.
Back on the golf trail, I'm off to Enniscrone in County Sligo. Yet another course originally designed by Eddie Hackett. Enniscrone, like Carne, maximises the use of the West Coast's contours. There's definitely no shortage of sand dunes around these parts. Thankfully, there's an ingenious stop-and-go light to let you know when it's okay to hit your drive.
This is the 13th green at Enniscrone, another standout hole on this wonderful links, and this is classic Eddie Hackett, in the days before modern machinery, making the absolute most of the natural terrain.
The sand dunes are there for beauty, for to look at. They're not there to play them. You just avoid them. Stay on the fairway. Bring a ball or two with you when you're going out playing. Don't expect that you'll get around the whole course without dropping a ball at some stage.
And this is what's unique about the Irish golfing experience. We're on the elevated 13th tee. The whole of Enniscrone is in front of us, but also County Mayo is to the right, County Sligo to the left. So there you have it, 72 hours along Ireland's wild Atlantic Way. Not quite as big a feat as that of Alcock and Brown, but this is a golfing adventure that I will remember for a long time to come.